welcome to Cat the Minion Patreon. I'm doing my overview of the week with charms. This was supposed to come out on the 19th, but I was sick for a week and I wasn't able to do it. And I'm recording this on Wednesday, and it's probably gonna be out more on Thursday, so it's gonna be almost a week late, but I wanted to make sure I got it in because it's going to be speaking about energies that have been happening this week, and even if it's sort of retroactive for most of it, it's going to give an idea of what's been happening and help people have perspective. And also, even though it might be for this week, somebody might be hitting the energy at a different time. So, in essence, I want to make sure that I put out the content when it's supposed to be out, even if it's late and nobody's seeing it in the immediate time frame. Alright, so I'm going to lay it out by day. I'm using the Radley Valentine Angel deck here. It's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that one went on the floor. Friday. Trying to get somewhere Friday. Alright, and Saturday. Now, when I was shaking up the charms, I had the octahedron and the egg flew out, which to me indicates the Fool energy, because they have that 0 point, but also air energy, which would be Uranus. So that might be affecting the reading this week. Uranus retrograding in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, who also is ruling Libra. I'm using the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. Hopefully you can hear me alright over my air. It got pretty warm again today, so I just have some air blowing in through the window. This card's going every which way. Thursday. Wednesday. There we go. Friday. And Saturday. Saturday in the park. Drink it was the 4th of July. And I'm using the Lover's Oracle. It's gonna bother me now because I don't remember who sings that. Blood, Sweat, and Tears, maybe. Doesn't go there, that goes here. Actually, that goes here. Sunday, Tuesday, Friday, and Alright, I just have these heart cards upside down for now because it keeps me from reading them ahead of time. I'm gonna get some charms out, and then I'm gonna adjust the view on this. Actually, I'm gonna do it this way. Give me, what day is that? Tuesday. Saturday. Give me Friday. Give me Monday. Wednesday. It's a lot. Maybe Sunday. And maybe Thursday. Okay. Alright, so way over here on the end I have the egg again. This time it's coming out inverted. It just tells me that Uranus retrograde energy. Also off the board I have the leaf. Right, we're turning the new leaf. And then this scroll is also off on the table. So we have some kind of ancient information. I also got this idea as in the reading I did yesterday with the scroll came out that it was kind of Cliff's Notes. But we'll see. The scroll is a lot like the leaf, right? It's just like it goes and it curls around. So I feel like this energy is very similar. I'm starting something new, and I'm kind of like out in the woods, and I'm writing my story on the nearest thing by, which is like a piece of birch bark or something. So I'll leave those over here. And off. My tripod has lost most of its tension lately, and I had to replace the screw that holds it to the camera, and it's kind of threaded, so it's just kind of gives me a lot of grief with the positioning of the camera lately, but here we go. Alright, so I'm going to start with the Sunday. Now, I read these as like each day is separate, and it just because it helps with how it's... What's this? That's a bear. I don't think I need that. I'm trying to come out of hibernation. Or someone's going within. Okay, so let's look at Sunday energy, right? This might not be day for day, but it's giving the energy of the sun. Seven of Fire. Defend your beliefs and decisions. Stand your ground. Choose your battles wisely. So Sunday we start out with Aries, with Mars in Leo. So we have Sun energy on Sunday. Aries currently retrograde. Mars currently retrograde in Aries. Jesus Christ, if I could talk. Alright, this just spun, so I'm going to take it in the challenge position. This is the Three of Pentacles. Three of Earth here in this deck. Okay, so when I was just saying that this, like, I'm just hatching and I'm going to start writing my story on whatever's nearby, here, this is the same kind of energy, but it's sort of like the day before that. I'm communing with nature, and I'm planting the seeds to grow something. What's interesting here is that he's got blood coming out of his hand. I don't know if that's... Look at that. He's bleeding into this little hole where he's burying this acorns. And he's hanging out with the squirrel there. So... Okay. So this kind of spun in a challenge on itself. This is a stand your ground, and here he's building in the ground. Where we see this communion with nature, right? Communion with the dragon, communion with the squirrel and the flowers. Notice that this is 10 together, a completion of some sort. Three of Pentacles energy is Mars in Capricorn. Okay, so the difference here is this... Capricorn is Saturn energy, which is going to be I don't think it's going direct this week. I think it's going direct next week. Which is probably why this is in the challenged position, right? It's starting, we're getting that pre-shadow of the turning. This fire energy with Mars is like, I'm trying to hold on to what I know because I feel a little bit like there's like an earthquake. So it says surrender. Now this is interesting because I have fire, I have earth energy, and this looks very watery. We have the moon energy here. Right, there's no talk about how we feel yet. At times we must surrender the old before something new can enter our lives. Let go and all will work out. Okay? So I'm standing up for what I believe in because I'm not so sure of this strange new energy. I don't know how this is going to turn out, right? I'm planning something new, but it feels like it's gonna, like, it's bleeding me a little bit. So that might be the only instance of emotion there. But here it's like trying to get into the flow more, right? With Mars energy is currently retrograde. It's going through, it's sort of, Mars retrograde in Aries is like an ego showdown. So it's trying to find what part of yourself to really nurture. And this idea of going deeper into the waters of the self in terms of that Aries, that Martian energy, right? It's understanding, it's observing, it's negotiations. And sometimes we don't win every battle necessarily, but it's in order to understand the darkness so that you can align things toward the light. Remember the cello? Which gives me this idea, my charms are getting kind of bent up. It gives me this idea of I'm playing something that's more mournful, right? I'm still in control of my song, but I'm having, there's a depth to it. And the snake came out inverted, which means like I'm not in the rhythm, I'm not in resonance with what's happening, right? I'm resisting something. Okay, I just thought of the scene in... I just thought of the scene in The Witches of Eastwick. Okay, so Jack Nicholson's character is... he's got a violin, and he comes to seduce Susan Sarandon's character, and she plays the cello. And he's telling her that she plays beautifully, but her bowing sucks. And she's like, why? And he's like, you're playing without passion. So that's what I get here, right? There was no emotional in here. But in order for Mars to have passion, they have to surrender to the fact that they have feelings, and they can't just, go out and blast the competition every time. There has to be some quiet moments and some darkness and letting the darker waters flow. Okay, so this is coming in on Sunday. Sunday. Alright, so Monday's energy, most of these charms are backwards, but we do have the F-bomb. F-bomb. Alright, so the charms that are all in reverse have this flask here. I was going to say science bitches, but this might be the solution. Right, we're not looking at the solution. You know, the cow here. They're sort of milking the situation. Okay, so here's the back of the credit card, right? I'm avoiding some of the details, which is probably why there's the solution isn't coming. And then we have the lips here. And here, this is just more like lip service, right? So it's just sort of, I'm not really going to get the solution to the problem, but I'm going to make it seem like there's a sweet deal going on, even though I'm avoiding finding the resolution by going through the steps of the chemical process and working. I don't know, I see another avoiding the details charm over here, but I'm going to get to that. Okay. I don't know if I held these up. It's the back of the credit card in reverse. This flask in reverse. I think it's an Erlenmeyer, but it's been a long time, so I don't remember. And we have the cow, which was in reverse. And this mouth was also in reverse. Okay. And the F-bomb was going a regular way. So let's see what Monday's energy is talking about. And so the Knight of Air inverted. Intelligent, decisive, idealistic, tireless. Events that occur with great speed take time to carefully review your options and creative solutions. Right? So like I said, you're not finding the solution when it's inverted. And this idea of not looking at the details, right? I'm not going to review it and make sure that everything's lined up. I'm going to talk a lot of shit and I'm not going to get anything done. A Knight of Swords energy. Taurus and Gemini. So I see this energy and I see it relating to Uranus retrograde in Taurus. And when I see a Knight inverted, it tells me the Hanged Man as well, which is also cutting into that Neptune retrograde energy. But, am I out of time? Okay. What I see here is like, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to go out and do it. I'm dragging my heels. Now, when I move these cards around, this one got moved sideways, so it might be in a challenged position also. So we have the Ace of Air, right, to match the Knight here. Right, we're having a hard time handling the truth. So another Jack Nicholson reference. You can't handle the truth. From a different movie. I don't want to see it. I don't want to accept it. I don't want to do it. Alright. So let's see what we got here. Okay, this is like the cyclical things. Like if you're going to ignore the solution and just try to milk a situation, just kind of try to make people, basically like swindling people into believing that things are hunky-dory when they're not. And it doesn't mean like you're intentionally trying to cheat people. It's like, even if they're trying to help you, or they're like, are you alright? You're like, yeah, I'm fine. Even if you're not fine, right? 'Cause sometimes the F word doesn't have to be fuck. It can be I'm fine. No help for me. Nobody's coming to rescue me. There's no knight on a white horse because he's over there. He's fucked off. And what happens is if you don't complete a lesson, it's going to repeat over and over again until something changes and shifts in it, right? Until the elements get recombined. Life is a series of constantly shifting cycles. When we resist change, we resist the natural flow of life and create unnecessary stress. Go with the flow, you'll be surprised where it leads. Now this is similar to the message that was coming out on Sunday, right? With the resistance, the lack of passion, the being out of tune with some kind of natural rhythm. So that's Monday, moon energy. A little bit of darkness, a little bit of obscurity. And Tuesday, is the day of Mars. So we had Mars energy on Sunday, but let's see what energy is coming in here. So I see this arrow here. This is one of my Ace of Wands type of charms, but it also tells me Sagittarius energy. We have a podium, which is similar to the energy here from Monday, right? I'm making a speech, trying to butter you up, to sway you to my way. We have a rhinoceros. When I get this idea of persecution, but also this idea that it can have a temper and turn on a dime. And the cowboy hat as well. And I get this idea of like I'm trying to ride the rhinoceros. You know, like I'm getting bounced around by a quick temper, either my own or someone else's. And I'm just trying to stay on for that whole 8 seconds so that I can, you know, come up to the podium and accept my award. Now, the charms that are in reverse here, I have the boom box. And I get the idea of, like, we're not going to play this scenario out over and over again. We're trying to get out of these... You need to get out of these cycles, right? We're not going to rewind the tape and play it again. We're not doing this shit anymore. And this is... And I get the idea, this is kind of like Cupid's arrow, but we're not trying to get you to be in love. We're trying to... knock some sense into you. This, in a method, like if it was an Earth, like if we were getting Earth energy instead of Mars energy, it would be, we're going to hit you with a clue by 4. But because we started off with Martian energy, with that Mars retrograde in Aries, the only way to talk to it is to hit fire with fire, right? I'm gonna like doink with the arrow right in the skull. And the other inverted charm here is Stonehenge. Now, like the scroll, this could be ancient wisdom, but it also, to me, has to do with, it has to do with like star mapping and numbers in geometry. So it's a little bit of that back of the credit card and also a little bit of the science. It's and the cello too. It's like it's a harmonic thing based on different numerical scales having to do with the ratio and sizes of things and their placements on the earth and the telluric current and blah 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 blah. It's also a circle. I've only drawn part of it, so it's this idea of a cycle and coming full circle in dealing with, in its very basic sense, solstices and equinoxes, right? So we're dealing with the idea of light and shadow as well. Okay, so let's see what these cards are. I'm going to take this one first. Alright, so we have Intuition inverted. So this is what this card looks up to, right? This is number 22 in this deck. So this has different major arcana, and they're slightly skewed, and it has a few extra cards. This card is a lot like the High Priestess, but it's like a higher level of that. What other number is like that? Maybe a little bit like judgment. Intuition. I would say that this is most like the High Priestess, though. And the number is 22, and it's sort of like double 11. This number that feeds back into itself over and over again. So the intuition is this idea of trying to be in the flow with things, right? I'm trying, like the universe is trying to hit you in the head with a message, and you're like, what? I didn't hear anything. And this is giving me Neptune inverted energy because I associate the High Priestess with Pisces, even though she's supposed to be the moon. And it continues from this energy here that I associated this inverted Knight with the Hangman, which would be Neptunian energy. Although it's currently retrograde, which would give me this energy here. It's saying this is what you're doing in the physical world. You're digging your heels in and refusing to be propelled forward because you don't want to have to do the work and, you know, go through the math and the lab notes and stuff to get the right solution. And here it's like, well, you could, you know, just sort of intuit your way to the message, but you don't want to open up this flow and feedback loop. So here it is, the Dreamer, Archangel Metatron. A leap of faith, follow your dreams, unexpected opportunities. I called this card out when I saw that egg twice. And I saw Uranus energy elsewhere in this reading. Archangel Metatron has to do with the geometry of the universe and the way that the energy vibrates and resonates with itself and all that crap. So some of that is from here, and then I see that also with Stonehenge with these interconnecting resonant geometric patterns. Okay, so it's saying, you know, you might feel like you don't know what you're doing, but if you just sort of let go a little bit and let yourself float, that you'll be able to start gaining access to the solutions that you need for your life instead of just going into stampede mode anytime you feel threatened. Now, I do have a heart card over here, but I'm picking up all these charms. This is kind of similar to the energy of the Fool. Normally the Fool is about to jump off a cliff. This one is going through a portal. But I feel like these are similar energies, right? Oh, woe is me. Oh, no, I'm jumping up out of the water. Like, even though that's a flower, but it kind of reminds me of Ariel jumping up out of the water, all like fancy like. But here there was a moon, and now there's a sun with a rainbow. This kind of reminds me of my Knight of Cups in my music deck. And the song is Can You Feel It? Because there's a rainbow from the video the picture that I use. But this to me gives me Fool energy as well. Double rainbow. Freedom. There's nothing stopping you. The path is clear if you want it to be. Right? But I feel like there's a lot of resistance. But again, once the Fool lets go, and even if you're not getting any intuitive messages, just understand that once you let go and start falling, that the path is going to start opening up. It's understanding that the framework, this network here of the universe is such that if you jump off of a path and start free falling, there's going to be some other framework to catch you. You're not just going to keep falling for infinity into some oubliette and then like land in the floor of the universe in like a little dark hole. There's always going to be some other waveform that comes in and catches you, right? You might not want to be in square world, but if you're not having a good time in like tetrahedron world, just take the leap and you'll at least be somewhere where you have a different perspective and your energy is changed and shifted. Alright, so this is Tuesday with Mars energy. So Wednesday is Mercurial energy. I have a whole crap ton of charms on this pile too, but let's see what we've got. Okay, so the Maiden, this is number 2, inverted. This is where the High Priestess would normally be in this deck, but here it's an archetype of a young female. So essentially Virgo, who in my recent experience is like the inner child of the Empress. Although not entirely a child, right? A Maiden is a younger female who might just be going through puberty and starting to gain this adult female energy and sort of really experiencing what feminine energy is about. But I feel like this is very much associated with this intuition card that was inverted at 22. And for me, this is a combination of that Virgo Mercurial energy, especially coming in on the day of Mercury on Wednesday. But also, like, it's kind of like the Two of Swords also, which is the moon in Libra. Libra is, of course, ruled by Venus, so that would follow. Even though this is giving me sort of Pentacles energy. So sort of very green. But it gives, I mean, that comes from the Virgo energy, because it's an earth sign. So now we have the Magician, Archangel Raziel. You are ready, you have the resources or the ability to manifest them. Life is magical. Now, I feel like this is coming off of Tuesday. We go into Wednesday and go from 0 to 1. But then there's this background energy of this sort of psychic feminine energy. And I feel like it's going, like, starting a new cycle. We're just starting out. We're not quite at the vibration needed, but we've reduced the level of inversion from -22 to -2. So we're getting closer to being able to turn it upright. I'm not sure why the Magician is there. Oh, okay, because it's Mercury. This is Mercurial energy as well. So Mercury is in Libra right now. So it's getting this nurturing from the Empress, from Venus itself, the ruler of Libra. Interesting. So it's giving it this sort of kick in the pants, like, no, you can do anything you set your mind to, but you're still not getting your own full intuition. So this is sort of like basking in the glow of Venus, because Venus is in Leo right now, the sun, right? Sort of reflecting all this crazy, magical, rainbow kind of light. A message for you. I'm thinking of you this very moment. Your love fills me with light. I love you. Now, these cards are designed to be messages between lovers, but I feel like this is the nurturing that's coming from the Venus energy, where Mercury is sitting in Libra. Look at it. That is a lot of energy coming in. I'm recording this on Wednesday. This is actually today's energy. So I have the microphone here, which is interesting because there was the podium and the boombox and the cello, and now we have the microphone. And I get this idea of, like, is this thing on? Like Tom Hanks in there, like sibilance. Like tapping the microphone, like with the feedback. Right? It's like trying to establish a feedback loop with the universe, that there's like a couple of links missing out of the chain, but it's like trying to test the ability to speak not into a bunch of microphones, to try to lip service. What the hell is it? Right? I'm not talking into 3 microphones saying a different message to each one, trying to schmooze my way and not really come up with a solution. I'm only going to speak one story. Now, all these other charms that came out were in reverse. So I have the bathtub, the shower, the magician hat, the 16-ton weight, which is kind of like the tower. I have the candelabra, more fire energy, and a mermaid. And did I not say that this reminded me of Ariel popping up out of the water? This might not be a mermaid. It could be a merman or a mer non-binary person. So try to draw a little ambiguous. Now, I feel like this goes with the bathtub. And I get this idea in the movie Splash, where Daryl Hannah is, she misses being in the water, so while Tom Hanks is out, she goes in the bathtub and puts the salt water in there and gets her tail back and is kind of flapping around in there, and then freaks out when he comes home early and she's trying to hide her tail and get her legs dried off so that he doesn't see her. And it's like, I'm out of my element, but I don't want anybody to see me in my true state, which is why it's sort of like this young person who's, trying to sweep the dirt under the carpet a little bit, even though the mother energy, that Venus energy, is going to be, well, I know you did something, but if you just admit to it, I'm not going to be mad at you. And I feel like the magician hat coming in reverse with the magician card is sort of indicating this inner struggle of, well, I want to be able to solve problems magically, but I'm struggling with the idea of, I kind of have to actually do the work and do it the hard way. So mercurial energy, Mercury is sort of a trickster energy, right? It's like, why am I going to solve, world hunger if I can just give everybody some lucky charms today? Wouldn't that be funny? But it doesn't actually solve the problem. You could use your magician skills to, make a startup business that helps people irrigate instead. It might not be as flashy, but it'll be more practical, right? And it's like, you have the resources or the ability to manifest them, right? It's like, don't try to pull one over, actually go in and, start with the raw materials, basically. Work from the ground up. Now, this is sort of like I'm not fully illuminated, right? My candles keep blowing out, or, I keep pulling out the book that makes the whole wall turn around and the candles go with it, and it gets dark in here. And this, in the reverse, it tells me that there's a tower moment happening, but it's more of an internal thing. Right? I'm my life is falling apart, but it's only in my internal world, right? Everything around you might be fine, but you need this, everything that's being shifted has to do with how you think and feel. You know, what is your, like, do you get angry easily? You're still trying to nurture this harboring, this, like, ego that's hanging around. Trying to, like, I'm trying to be a brand new me, but it's hard to let go of the old me. But there's this sort of magical quality in the air of, like, ooh, I just might be able to do this. Like, I'm starting to feel like maybe I could learn how to be nice to me too. Alright, so it's Wednesday, so Thursday, Jupiter energy. Wait, is that right? Yes, Jupiter energy. I have to keep reciting the days in French in my head so I know what the ones in the middle of the week are. Ace of Air. So this is the second time this is coming up, and now it's upright. Brilliant new ideas and inspirations. Seeing the truth of a situation, a challenging beginning, right? Like I said, I'm having a hard time getting going over here. So it's like with this sort of Sagittarian luck on your side energy. This is also Martian energy, by the way, the Tower. Like I'm starting to feel like luck is on my side and sort of warming up to the idea that the truth is something worth having, right? It's fancy and sparkly. It's gold-plated truth that came pouring out of a machine in Vegas, and that's, you know, tilt cha-ching. The truth is going to get you more reward than if you put the truest quarter ever in the slot machine instead of some like garbage fake quarter. You're much more likely to get a return on your investment. Investigator. Okay, so we have heaven and earth inverted. Is this focused? I can't even. I moved something. Okay. So this is the 11 of Earth in this deck, which is essentially the Page of Pentacles. This is a balance between spirituality and practicality. And look at this, there's even like a scroll on here. I think it's supposed to be a letter, but it looks like a scroll. Try to zoom in on it. Right there. Check my focus again. That's what happens when I move stuff. It gets all screwed up. Okay. Put this back over here. Okay. So there's, what's the Page of Pentacles doing? Spring with Earth of Earth. Okay. So in the Northern Hemisphere, we're going into fall. And it's highlighting this light and dark time of year, but also the idea of spirituality versus the material world, which is kind of what the Magician is addressing here, right? You can't just, you know, magically manifest everything that you want to, or if you will, it'd sort of be passing. You have to put in truth and use material resources if you want to create this vision for yourself where you're feeling bountiful in the material world, but you're also spiritually at peace. So I see 1 and then I see 11, right? 1, 11. And I see that here too. I see a Roman numeral 2 and then a 1. Here the energy is leveled up a little bit, even though this is in reverse. I think this has to do with a lot of the Saturn currently retrograde energy as well. Now what's interesting is I have Gizmo here, This is my other paying attention to the details charm. Right? He needs to be kept in the dark. He's afraid of bright light. But he has very simple rules for maintaining a peaceful life. And if those sort of truths are ignored, it creates this toxic environment that spreads into those around him. He's got a dark side. The other charm that came out is the swan. Now the swan in the Wild Unknown Tarot is the court animal for the Cups suit, right? Page, well, princess, prince, queen, and might be daughter of cups, son of cups, queen of cups, and king of cups. So when I see this, I get this idea of emotional expansion, starting to be able to maintain, stabilize, and communicate your emotional content to other people. And we don't see that very much in these other places. Let me see what these cups are so I can tell which one it's supposed to be. Interesting. I think it's supposed to be the King of Cups, because I feel like it's related to judgment, which is Pluto energy, but fire, which would make sense here. All right. So here we have a light, fiery, and the dark, masculine and feminine, sort of a union of opposites, that heaven and earth concept, the sky and the earth. It says, romance, Cupid's arrow strikes. Now again, this could be like, oh, I'm ready to start going out and finding someone finally. But I did say that this was like Cupid's arrow, except for someone who's operating in Mars energy, it's the only way to get information in there, is to jam it right into your head. So it's not necessarily for love, but it's the fire version of getting some sense knocked into you. So I feel like this... Now what's interesting is that Cupid always hung out with Mercury. They were buddies. And we see this coming in on the day after Mercury Day. I feel like this could mean ready for a relationship for some people, but I think the way that it reads in this reading is I'm starting to understand. I'm starting to get the message. I'm starting to maintain the details and be receptive to my own emotional content. Okay, so then we have the Friday, which is Venus. And the charms I have in reverse, I have the piano. And I have this idea of like the piano falling down the stairs, going like the like horrible like dur, 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 dur noises, kind of like my intro. If you watch my little 2-second intro, this is what that sound is. The cat stepping on the piano as it falls down the stairs. But also I have the speakers, which kind of look like a washer and dryer, but those are the speakers. solid walls of sound. And then I have the little robot. This is, I associate this with the Six of Swords, Mercury and Aquarius, sailing away from the bullshit. But we'll see. So we have the Knight of Water inverted, so that's weird. Aquarius and Pisces, okay. So here's Mercury, god damn it. Mercury and Aquarius, but now Aquarius in Pisces. No, and Aquarius and Pisces. Right, so Uranus and Neptune both inverted here. Okay. It says falling in love or wedding proposals, the need to balance emotions, an invitation to a social event. Emotional, romantic, enthusiastic, contemplative. This is another hangman energy, going back to that Neptune energy as well. It's like, I'm getting the message. Like, Eureka, I've got it. I feel lucky today. But the next day when Venus is like, okay, let's balance this shit out. Let's work it up. Then all of a sudden it's like, well, maybe I'm not King of Cups. Maybe I'm not even the Knight of Cups. Oh, I forgot how to emote. What am I doing? Right? I've dropped the piano down the stairs. And it was really loud. And I'm trying to sail away because that's how my feelings felt, and it didn't sound good. And then we have the Ace of Water to go with it. Or is that the Water? Yeah, that's the Ace of Water. So we've got the Ace of Water with the I don't know what I'm doing. This is so back and forth. I almost feel like the planets are it's like someone's being dragged by the planets through a dark night of the soul. That is crazy sauce. Okay. Oh wow, and that even looks like that too. You're going to deal with your root issues. I'm going to dunk you until you figure out your masculine and your feminine side and confront all of your emotional baggage. This reminds me of... How much time? Okay. I just read... What the hell did I just read? The Great and Secret Show by Clive Barker. And there was this part where... male and female character were going through this specific water dimension, and it responded to their negative emotions by manifesting like growths on their skin, and they ended up being stuck together. And this is what this reminds me of. Right? You're going to stay in the water until you deal with your emotional baggage. You're not going to be able to swim away from it. You're going to stay there and deal with your root issues. Wait, don't rush into it. Allow nature to take its course. Okay? So even if you're not feeling ready for the Ace of Cups, you don't have to know everything about emotions right this second. Just do it little by little, right? You want to do sets of strokes in the water. You don't want to try to row all the fucking way to England on the first trip. It takes a long time to get to England in a rowboat. Alright. Oh man, coming in on the Venus day, that's just wrong. Alright. Oh man. Oh, that made me laugh. It's too funny. Okay. I think I'm just gonna start another segment for the last day. So Saturday, the day of Saturn, we have the 8 of fire now. Mercury in Sagittarius. Sagittarius? What's this? Sagittarius. Why does that sound weird all of a sudden? There's North and the South Node. Gemini and Sagittarius. Mercurial energy. Hanging out with Libra there. Okay. This is normally quick movement, quick communication. I'm getting this sort of... I mean, this is sort of giving me flight energy. Right, I'm taking the red eye. I've got something to say. I'm getting in the Harrier jet. Hold on to your butts. Let's do this. So they have the 10 of Cups inverted. A contented and rewarding family life. Your emotional and material needs are met. Trustworthy relationships. Interesting. Notice that this totals 18. That's moon energy coming in on Saturday. 10 of Cups. Mars in Pisces. Okay, so both Neptune and Mars retrograde right now. This idea of fire and water fighting for space on the same card when they're both retrograde, when they're both at their worst, is not necessarily conducive to emotional fulfillment, but at least you're able to express why you're not happy now. Perhaps. Alright, so these charms here. The icosahedron, which I think is water, if I'm not totally mistaken. I have my charm that is sort of representative of the 6 of Pentacles, which would be the moon in Taurus. The moon. Oh, okay, I'm getting trickle down. Trickle down. Maybe trash chicken here who might crap on you. It's gonna shit on your card. It's gonna trickle down. Now, inverted, I have this fox. Sleeps with one eye open, gripping his pillow tight. Stick a fork in me, I'm done. That's a lot like 10 of swords. I have the record player. And I have the rainbow. It starts somewhere over the rainbow. These were all inverted. I have right to be suspicious of people who say they're going to bring me all this happiness, because the broken record of my past is that I've always gotten stabbed in the back. I'm waiting for love to trickle down, and it's usually the emotional contentment has been withheld from me. That's sad. But here we have some growth, emotional content, an infinity symbol, which could be 8. So some kind of strength. We have a star. Now that could be Aquarius, but that also 17 breaks down to 8 again. And then we have the yin yang here, dark and light balance. Notice that we have stars and hearts growing here on this tree as well. I think this is what's being planted here. Grounding helps bring material growth and healing and hope for the future. Manifesting miracles. Your dream is soon to become reality. Trust your heart and continue to follow its guidance. Okay. So this idea of like hot to trot with this newfound information, but there's still some healing that has to be done in terms of not wanting to repeat the past. Right, I'm ready to go. I'm hot to trot. I'm running that 8, but I'm afraid to go to 10 because every time I've gotten to 10 before, I had my emotions completely trampled, which is why they weren't coming out earlier in the week or earlier in this scenario, right? Because the week is really just a metaphor for other periods of time. All right, so that's the late weekly overview that was supposed to be for the 20th through the 26th. All right, if you want to get a personal reading, you can hit me up there. Oh, come on. This thing is so wobbly now that it's all screwed up. There we go. Cat came back at camp@gmail.com. Come on, man. Couldn't cooperate. Maybe if I zoom out a little bit. Okay. There. If you want to help keep everything running, if you're not already, you can level up on Patreon. You can also hit that tip jar, paypal.me/cattheminion. I also Cash App and Venmo. Prints and merch, Cafe Press, and DeviantArt. Like drifting. Unbelievable, this thing. I've got coloring books and a Dark Night of the Soul style poetry book over here on Amazon. If you haven't seen it already, I have a post here on Patreon about my catalog. I've got more chapbook packs. I've got made to order items like the Foam Lotus. I'm working on some new stuffed animals. And I've also got art a la carte, individual pieces. Once they're gone, they're gone. So all that information, the readings I offer and how much they cost are going to be in the description box of my infomercial video. I'm going to put that link in the comments underneath this video. And, god damn it, this is terrible. I apologize for my sign being difficult to read. Okay. There. If you have any questions, you can just email me, thecatcameback@camp@gmail.com. Alright. And my tripod is really giving me the grief lately. There. Try to get that at a straight angle so it's... Okay. If you're not already subscribed on regular YouTube, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, comment. Check out the discussion tab and the playlist tab and stay groovy, and we'll see you later. Bye.